the son of one of the founders of Hamas. His name is Mossad Hassan Youssef, and he absolutely lays into this reporter, or whoever she is, named Abby Martin. Her takes, terrible, but he absolutely lays into her. So let's get into it. Watch this.
All right, Mossad, there was an allegation there that you think all Muslims are terrorists. What's your response to what Abby Martin said?
Well, this is Abby's desperate attempt to discredit me.
Before he goes on, think about that, because he's the son of one of the founders of Hamas, right? So if you think about it, it's going to be hard to argue with him, because he's literally been inside the organization as one of the top individuals inside the organization for a period of time. He knows how they operate. He was brought up in it, right? So what do you have to try to do? You have to try to discredit him to make him not seem legitimate, so people won't take him or his opinions seriously. Because if you do, it will. If people do, it's going to damage the narrative they're trying to push.
I'm a man of the field. I fought against Hamas as part of legitimate intelligence organization, against savage group that were targeting civilians in suicide bombing attacks, waves of suicide bombing attacks that they killed people indiscriminately. So Abby...
And they still do. That's the thing. They literally showed it. They literally did it, recorded it, and showed it to the world. It's not like it's an unknown thing. They purposely, indiscriminately target civilians.
Today want me for some reason to apologize for saving human life, because my truth challenges her convenient truth. Abby does not have the authority. She's just a self-appointed low-grade journalist. How can you be a journalist and you call this a genocide, ethnic cleansing? And she just keep repeating ethnic cleansing, genocide, colonialism, etc.
He's right, all the buzzwords.
None of it is real, including Palestine. It's only in your head. None of it is existential. Palestine was never born. How can you free it? It was never there. It's just a colonial entity.
Think about that. It was never born. How can you free it? Think about that for a second. What he's saying makes sense. Because even after the West Bank was controlled by Jordan, and then Gaza was controlled by Egypt, and there wasn't big fights for independence when those two areas were controlled by Jordan and Egypt. Keep that in mind.
And some people choose to make it into a national identity. And this parrot has been just repeating Hamas propaganda. Marwan Barghouti that she's talking about him, she never met him. I knew Marwan before he got to power. He's a criminal. He killed 5 people. He has blood on his hands. He cheated on his wife. He has a secret son that he never revealed it to the public. Of course, I can't criticize him, and I can't criticize all the criminals that I know personally. She's been there only for a visit, and maybe she had some falafel sandwich, and she really was blown away of the Palestinian experience. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. You don't qualify even to be a mother.
Wow.
Wow, that's right. My man did not hold back at all. But if you pay attention to Abby Martin and a lot of the stuff she says, at least from what I've seen in some of the interviews, her points are garbage. Like she's one of those people who is still parroting the Israeli drone making baby sounds and going around and shooting people. With what proof? With what proof is there? The only proof I saw anyone try to show is a dark video with a red dot in the sky. It's dark outside, there's a red dot in the sky and a baby crying, I think. That's it. They have no proof. They have no proof, right? But she just runs and parrots, like he said, Hamas propaganda on a regular basis. It's like genocide. There is no genocide happening in Gaza. 74% of the population, as I said before, are women and children. They only represent about 50% of the casualties. 26% of the population is men. They represent 40+% of the casualties. Men are being targeted. But the thing that they don't want to talk about is the fact that Hamas uses human shields. They use human shields. It's undeniable, right? You don't believe me? Here, I'll pull this up. I'm going to show you an example of using human shields. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Let's go to my profile. Look here. I'm going to pause this. I want you to look at this again, okay, and watch what happens, okay? Now, do you see that rocket? So look where Israel struck, and then look where a rocket got launched, and you see the plume of smoke coming out. So they're launching stuff from they're launching stuff from highly civilian populated areas, but they're not going to tell you that, right? So they're going to use civilians as human shields. So they're dressing like civilians, they're acting like civilians, they're hiding amongst civilians. And Israel has a very low in terms of war and reality. Remember, guys, we have to be realistic. Too many people have these perfect, unrealistic things they're comparing the Israeli military to. Y'all are not being realistic. This isn't La La Land. You got to operate in reality. They're doing a very good job of minimizing civilian casualties, especially considering they're fighting an enemy who dresses like them, hides amongst them, and uses them as shield for their weapons. I've said it again, or I've said it before, I'll say it again, there is no moral equivalence between the two. Just pay attention. These people use their own civilians as shields for their weapons, while the Israelis use their weapons to protect their people. There is no moral equivalence between the two. That's all I got. I'm out. Y'all have a good one. Peace.